Liftoff of mission 41D, first flight of the orbiter Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Health or High Water podcast. Thanks for tuning in again. It is Tuesday. The sun is out here in Denver. It's a beautiful day. We got Leslie here joining us again, backed by popular demand.
Word.
And popular demand. Also, we have Mr. Tripp Parks over there.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to Health High Water Podcast. Please like and subscribe. It helps us out so much.
So, yeah, thanks for following our journey here. We had a guest reschedule for today, so we're going to have that coming up again. We have Crystal Martinez from Balfour that's going to be joining us here. So it's just going to be us three today. But we will have her bringing her on and talking all senior care, and that's going to be a fantastic episode. When it happens, Tripp, what is going on in your news over there? You've been busy.
It's total anarchy today.
It is pure anarchy.
Anarchy. So, man, there's been a lot going on. We had our first class over at Memory Care at Hilltop yesterday. Went really well. Bret played amazing guitar. We had Mishi special guesting on ukulele. We're teaching boxing class. It was a lot of fun. What else has been going on, man? It's been
Hilltop one of Balfour's, isn't it?
No,
No?
Hilltop is part of Ascent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Could you cover that the Mishi thing real quick about how that went down?
The ukulele part?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was actually this is kind of funny how it all happened. Was we started adding Memory Care into assisted living?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. So over at Rosemark is right next to our gym that we're at right now. Rosemark's part of Ascent Living, and they have primarily assisted living and memory care. Memory care is called the Monarch House, and it's directed by a guy named Mishi. And he's a great guy, but super into music, plays music a lot. And we've been there just about a year now.
Yeah, and it started off with just independent living or what have you, and then Mishi brought Memory Care in. He brought his ukulele in with all his music gear, and we had like a jam party while we had boxing class, and everyone went bananas over this class. We all got a standing ovation, and we ended up test driving this class at another facility, and they went bananas for it. So that was
yeah, it's because grandparents love kids.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
why don't you take that gig to high school? Let me know how you work out.
Wait, what? There were no kids there.
what she was saying is
we're at North today with a ukulele.
Oh.
Kids would be brutal. It's like doing Dare.
Oh, we were jamming. Yeah, so we went to Hilltop. We asked Mishi if he wanted to join us over at Hilltop. So we went to the Monarch House over at Hilltop, and we did boxing and music, and it was a great time, a smash hit. We had some people that we were told that had never participated in some of these classes. There was a lady there that was blind, who never participates, and she did. And there was a bunch of other things too. So it was really cool. It was a fun experience, and we had a great time doing it.
Absolutely. I got one more piece of news for us. After weeks of me trial and erroring and trying to figure it out, we finally have our first webinar series airing today at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So what that's going to be is going to be me. I'm going to have Bret come on, do some stuff about recovery, but it's about explaining how DNA impacts fitness and wellness as a whole. So our first webinar is going to be how fitness, or DNA impacts our fitness routines, impacts our recovery, and most importantly, impacts injury recovery and prevention. So look out for that. It's going to be on our YouTube channel, Ascend Performance Training, same place that we air this too. So make sure you guys are watching out for that. That's all I have for news.
Just a post-it note to add to that. Tripp, you guys, someone don't know, Tripp is certified genetic-based program designer through
ISSA,
International Sports Science Association. Genetics is a big part. And actually, Leslie, you did a genetic test.
I did.
So did I.
Mm-hmm.
And
gangster DNA, son.
Gangster DNA. Yeah, explain that. What is gangster DNA?
It means I'm the shit. It's just gangster. It's top of the line.
Well, our Leslie and I's first meeting, we went over second meeting, we got her genetic test done. Went over her DNA, what's favorable for her, what's unfavorable for her, and she's got a crazy power predeposition, so she's strong as an ox. So when we refer to gangster DNA, she's got an incredible strength predeposition. I mean, you look when she's doing deadlifts, she's doing she probably PR 220 right now.
Maybe, I don't know.
I've seen you.
Somebody took down the leaderboard, so who knows?
Ooh.
We'll get a new one.
Burn. I think it was like 230.
I've seen it. Yeah, I knew it was over 225 for sure. I saw it. I was like, holy moly.
Scared.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the gangster DNA.
Well, it's interesting because you guys have been working together for a long time, consistently, and it's interesting because sometimes you run into, I don't know, I feel like the whole culture, especially, is all geared on weight loss. Is everything.
And the number, too.
And the obsession over number. And now, it's interesting because I always call you a science guy. You know, you respect and love numbers, and they mean a lot to you.
Yep.
And you utilize them. But how do you find that balance? And how do you make sense of, like, when you're working with not just Leslie, but when you guys are working together, how do you make sense of that? Not obsessing over the number and finding progress in other areas for people who particularly do lift weights, because sometimes I feel better at a heavier weight.
I can't, like, the number thing for me it wreaks havoc on me. I can't, like, so I don't like to get on the scale. I don't like to do the in-body. I don't like to do any of that because the whole time I'm just like, I should have done this. I should have done that. It just wreaks havoc on me emotionally and mentally. And so now I'm like, if he wants me to get on a scale or an in-body, I'm like, well, I'm not friggin' looking at that stupid ass number because it's going to ruin me. And I can't get out of that mindset. It's really difficult. I think it's because we're programmed very much so to be like, oh, how much do you weigh? What's your weight? How much weight have you lost? Because that's what everybody asks you.
Totally. Yeah. You're going to the gym. Oh, you're going to the gym now.
Yeah.
How much
weight have you lost?
Totally.
I'm like, don't make me kick you.
Totally.
Don't make me kick you.
Yes. Yeah. So it's tormenting. I friggin' hate it. I know we've talked about that before.
Yeah. Well, that's the most.
So I let him worry about that.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't really talk to me about it because I know you don't really care about the scale or the number on the scale.
No,
it's not health to you.
No, it's not. And like, to answer your question and to add what Leslie's talking about is it's adding the human factor, right? You know what I mean? Like, one day Leslie might come to me and be like, I want to do a bodybuilding competition or something like that, and we'll have to re-gear up and do what we have to do. But it's that mentality. It's like, are they ready to go that hardcore on this? Are they feeling better? Is that enough? You know, the one thing too I think that I'm most proud of for you, Leslie, is your change of your perspective. Like, when she shows me stuff on Instagram, she sees it from a different perspective of, instead of like, oh, Tripp, why are we not doing this? Instead of, she makes fun of it. It was like, oh, look at this.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, this is the most trendy BS I've ever seen in my entire life. So she's seeing through the cloud. Right? So
what was that one that I just saw? The girl weighed like 280 pounds or 293 something. I don't know. She was close to 300 pounds. And then she, like, they're like, this is my journey, January 1. And then June 1. June 1. It's like 5 months. It seriously was 5 months. And she was down 174 pounds. I said, how do you lose 174 pounds in 5 months? Like,
drugs.
Yeah. Yes. I was like, okay, did
Lots
you
of
have
drugs.
Gastric bypass? Did you do the sleeve? Are you not like, what is it? And they post these
30-second
clips of them working out. And I'm like, that's not what you did.
Total 100%.
Yeah. And
yeah.
I have a moment where I'm like, I'm jealous. I'm like, that bitch.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you're gaining that shit back next week.
The whole industry the whole thing is messed up, from the marketing to the social media to I always say it's geared more divisively towards women. They almost prey on, like, the fact that, like, the comparison game.
You know what's so funny you said that? So I like talk radio. I'm an old man in a decently middle-aged body.
Old man.
But they were talking about alcohol.
I was confused for a second. I was like,
I had to do the math.
I was
like, dang, I think I'm old enough to be his mother. And this dickhead's talking about being old.
I was just trying to figure out how to roast. I was just trying to figure out how to roast
You're an
myself.
old soul.
So they're trying to figure out how to roast. Trying to figure out how to roast myself. But they were talking.
Well, it can't be that hard. There are plenty of other things to pick on. Do you want me to find something that we can roast about?
Big nose been hit by
Welcome
two
to the
cars.
podcast, everybody. It's the roast of Tripp Parks. Oh my God, it'd be so good. Ooh, let's start over. Can we start over this podcast? The roast of Tripp has begun.
You've thrown him completely off his. Go ahead, bud.
I don't even know where I am right
I
now.
don't know.
What was that? What were we talking about?
Perfect.
Podcast.
Did you lose your train of thought? I can keep going.
Completely.
Okay, perfect. That was hilarious.
We were talking about social media.
Yeah,
or something.
so-
I don't know. I wasn't really listening. He
Yeah.
said he was old, and I was like, meh.
Yeah, it's the scale is funny because it's not it is a metric technically. It's a metric,
Yeah.
but I've had people that I've trained for many years. Sometimes they don't lose weight at all, and it's a whole different journey, and they feel a million times better.
Yeah.
Every case is different. I think every person's different. Your goals are
I think
different.
it's really important if you were a skydiver. If you're about to jump out of an airplane and you need to know exactly down to the ounce what you weigh because it matters what pack you're wearing. It matters all of those things. I know that because Jamin's a skydiver and he's he could tell you down to the ounce what he weighs.
I was like, where did that come from?
Yeah, and so he's constantly like, how much do you weigh? And I'm like, stop asking me how much I weigh. He's like, well, you and I can't skydive together. And I'm like, I know. That'd be like throwing a freaking rhinoceros out of an airplane. So let's not. And I would love to, but it's like he has to think about that. That's his... and I'm like, no, Jamin, I'm not thinking about that today.
Yeah.
It's gonna take me a minute.
Well, I think that's the goal that we've all set to kind of to break down is number one is standardize the industry. Is that there's no other industry you can go into really that you can go to 5 different house builders or what have you and then give you 5 different answers how to build that house. There's one safe way with what have you to build a house. You go to 5 different personal trainers, 5 different nutritionists, and they're all telling you different answers, and it's leaving people frustrated and upset and unhealthy.
And that's where your genetics come in because there's going to be a different way for everybody.
Yeah, and like you're saying, Bret, everybody's different, and we typically see the most frustrated people come through our doors is because I've tried everything, right? Instead of that, why not just figure out what's going on? And secondly, is standardizing this industry is like, hey, listen, let's figure out what's going on with you first before I just put you in a program that worked for me. It's just kind of like you said, it's ass backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, it's simplifying it too, because really at the bare bones, you're trying to, eat whole foods, eat more regularly, have a better, more balanced frequency of food, manage the stress better, make it to the gym. When you make it to the gym, have a program that's customized for you that fits around what your particular goals are. I mean, that's what you're talking about, right? When you say standardizing.
Yeah, I think even at a larger focal point for all of us is about redefining what health is as a whole, right? And I think it's kind of like this kind of topical point here today is like us going against this monstrous industry that has really taken perception and minds away from what the real things, like you said, just eating good foods, going to the gym, getting a good night's sleep, managing stress, being a part of your community, doing those kind of things. It's just like it's so far left of what is rational it needs to be that this is a monumental task. But I think we're doing a good job of like thinking this thing through. It's like, all right, well, how do we do this? Like, well, we got to quantify things. Like, let's bring numbers to this instead of just, hey, this worked for me, it's going to work for you. Try my diet program. Yeah. It's taking a step back and looking at like, hey, listen, we're one of the first wellness companies to tell you we don't know what to do with you. We have a good idea. We generalities, but until we actually get to the nitty gritty, I don't know how much vitamin D you have until I get your blood work. I don't know what your cancer risk is based off your epigenetics, your environmental factors. We don't know these things, and I think a lot of healthcare professionals are scared to say that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting kind of heated.
Yeah. Well, I think healthcare professionals too are just kind of stuck in this pattern with like big pharma, and it's a whole like there's a management thing. They don't get to be doctors and nurses, and it's not proactive. It is very reactive, and like just dealing with our parents. Like it's the most frustrating thing in the whole wide world, and I'm like, why are you doing that to yourself? I'm like, why do you like? For example, my mother, I'm like, why is your general practitioner not talking to your endocrinologist, who's not talking to your like your knee doctor? I was like, why are none of these people talking about your problems? Like, I don't get that. Well, I don't understand.
That's what that's what the whole thing is trying to solve now. Because you can throw even more than that in. You can throw massage therapists and personal trainers and nutritionists and et cetera. There's a lot of different health fields. Now we had, who was it, Amanda on the podcast yesterday or whenever, 2 days ago, with all the other
It was
stuff.
last week, but yeah.
Gosh.
Jeez, a couple days ago.
This describes my life perfectly.
I don't know what day we're in.
I thought it was
everybody.
Thursday this whole day.
I don't know what today is.
And she had red light therapy. She had cryo. So you have all these different things. You know, how do we make sense out of it? It's 2024. We're post-COVID. All right, we had a huge, crazy health scare where now everybody has completely shifted their mindset. There was an entire economic shift. There was a financial shift. And there is a huge societal evolution of thought now. And I think we're trying to follow that and go, okay, from a health perspective, how do we do it? Right, Tripp? How do we do it?
Well,
this whole push for wellness and stuff. And I think a lot of people went, wait a minute, government healthcare, is this really what do you mean? There's like this big push to make everybody fall in line, and I don't think that's right.
No, because it's going against that grain of idea of like it's a fishnet approach to wellness, which hasn't worked in the past, and we're gonna just repeat ourselves as a definition of insanity.
Just all the things that like can be fixed by going outside in the sunlight, like these kids who don't leave their basements, who don't do all these things, 100%. And I'm like, have you thought about getting some sunshine?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
what the hell?
Depression's an interesting one. I don't have it. I've never been depressed. I've been sad.
Oh, you lucky guy.
Dude, but I have close friends of mine, many close friends that are depressed or have gone through severe depression. And you know, that's a tough topic to talk to them about.
Yeah, battle. It's a battle in your head.
Yeah, it's an everyday battle of you know, feeling good enough to go outside. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to clean the room. My room's a mess. You know, all these other things. But it doesn't matter. Like we still have to find a way to serve, to bring purpose to what we're doing. Even if you don't feel like working out, who cares? You have to work out. Even if you don't feel like it.
You don't have to. There are other things you could do.
Yeah, but 2024 now you have to.
Just my expert opinion.
You have to do
work
something.
Out.
Like if you're not preparing your meals, like prepare your meals, do all these things. Like even if you don't feel like it.
Well, I think sometimes it's just the ritual too.
Yeah.
It's the structure and the ritual 100%. Of just constantly doing it, 100%. And then eventually your mind goes, okay. Like something kind of changes and shifts inside your mentality and that ritual of it.
Yes, yeah, it's like brushing your teeth. You don't even
think about it.
Brush your teeth because you feel like it.
Sometimes you do.
You do it.
You ever have a whole bottle of tequila and you wake up and you're like, oh man,
yeah,
I didn't brush my teeth.
I've never had a whole bottle of tequila.
What?
I don't like tequila.
I didn't say by myself.
But after I smoke a cigar, I'd probably be like, I didn't brush my teeth. But for general purposes, yeah, is our, you know, things that they go into this whole wellness perspective, and those are the things that, you know, you and I have these conversations on the regular about how to do this.
Well, it's the mindset, right? Like just go in and we'll take this for example. My parents, right? They would bend over backwards and make sure they had the best lawn. Our cars were routinely mainly serviced. Our house was in pristine condition, but they never ever took care of themselves, right? But what happened?
They weren't taught that either.
They weren't taught right, but they didn't really have to because their parents they ate whole foods.
Yeah,
their
it's
parents
a very weird like the invention of like fast food and like TV meals and things like that. That sort of thing really, I think, affected that generation.
Well, 100%. They didn't need to do that. They were like walking to and from school, and they were like heaving lumber and doing this kind of stuff. They didn't really need that extra physical activity.
And then I think it doubled down with our generation and the generation after us. It's like a whole.
Yes.
It's a whole thing. Like it's totally in. I can't remember who it was that I was watching that they were talking about that, but I mean, you're away from making things yourself. You don't have time to do this or that, and so now it's like that's the only thing that people know is prepared stuff.
Well, here's so something else too. You know, just just tying it in. We talked about depression. I think I brought it up out of somewhere, but there's a tangent there where it's aside from depression is just I don't know where to start. I don't know how the hell to prepare meals regularly. How the hell do I get to the gym regularly? There's a whole ocean of like uncertainties when you're talking about somebody listening to this podcast or somebody out there who's trying to figure out, okay, I agree with you guys. I want to make a change. No clue where to start. I could hire a personal trainer. That would give me a good leg up. But there's still all these unanswered questions.
And that's what we're trying to answer, right? Is we're trying to answer, like, listen, you might not need a personal trainer. Maybe you're going to burn a ton of fat just by running every day. You know, maybe resistance training is not what's going to keep you healthy.
Ew. I need to wear a shirt with a no sign that says runners, no runners.
Well,
I don't know. Running's not my jam.
Well, no, and it isn't.
I did a couple triathlons, and to like run, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if you know what it's like to run with boobs. Double sports bras. It's not. Well, I don't even care about a mild, brisk walk kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Have you seen that Olympics where they do that, like, speed walking thing?
Walking?
They, like, disjoint their legs from their hips. What is that?
They're like dancing.
Yes, I don't.
Let me finish my thought. Hold on.
This was important. I was going to finish. I was going to start a whole new thought.
Yeah, let me finish my thought.
Anarchy.
I knew we were going to bring anarchy to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. It's the roast of Bret.
So let's say you want to get all started. You have no idea where to start, and you don't feel like starting. Whatever, all this stuff. The other thing too is you got to realize, like, whether your friends, your family, your uncles, brothers, whoever, people around you are watching your habits all the time. Maybe it's your kids. Impact.
Yeah.
So let's say you don't feel like meal prepping. You don't feel like working out. Like, what? It's just, I work too long. You come up with all the excuses in the world why you can't do it, right? The thing is that other people in your life are watching what you're doing unconsciously. They don't even realize it. And they're mimicking you. You know, you don't know who's looking up to you. And the people are copying you. So
everybody.
If you're not doing it for yourself, like, you have the opportunity to do something where other people are going, oh, now I'm going to eat healthy. That's the biggest transition we're seeing since 2020 now is this wave. In my mind, is this wave of people now going, hey, I'm going to make a change for other people as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think the reason that's happening is because a lot of us...
And sometimes that's the best place to start, because if you're like me, you're a people pleaser. And you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to do it for me. I'm going to do it for somebody else. And then eventually it becomes about you.
Totally.
You know, after counseling and classes about people pleasing.
No, 100%. But here's I want to jump back real quick on what you're talking about.
Me.
What you're talking about.
Work in progress
What
here.
What you're talking about with fear, right? Hey, the fear of like going to the gym, the fear of making that change. I want to talk about another fear, which is worse, is something happening to you. Because if you don't take care of yourself, someone else will. And what I'm kind of jumbling back to is, you know, my parents took care of the car, they took care of the house, they didn't take care of themselves. But now there's a catastrophic, life-changing illness that happened to my mom, and now she's got cancer on top of everything else.
And how do you fix that? Like, who's taking care of you? Like, it's,
is it going to be your family member? Is it going to be I mean, like, who's going to take care of you? Is your family going to have to send you to a home? Like, what's going to happen? So I feel like people need to start thinking of that fear over the fear of, like, hey, like, just going out and looking at a blog article about, hey, listen, what is a workout program? Going out and listening to a podcast, hey, this is what Whole Foods looks like.
Well, and I also think that there is a big, like, there's this fear of the amount of money you have to spend to make yourself better. Like, let's be real. It costs a lot of money to do a lot of this stuff. So I wonder if a lot of people are held back by that when I mean, you could Google, you could do some resources, but it's hard to know what direction to start. And then you're like, oh, I'm not making that financial obligation up for myself.
Or even someone who's already spent that money and they're not seeing the results. And then
to still spend that money?
Yeah.
Yours truly right here. I'm raising my hand.
Well, yeah, but that idea, it's like, I've already spent $400 on this workout program. It hasn't worked for me. Why would I spend another $300 on, you know, this other thing? It's like, well, it's because if you don't keep trying, the latter part is someone's going to take care of you.
I had a conversation with my oldest, and we were talking about finances and money and things like that, and I was like, well, this is how much money I'm spending on like coming to the gym with Tripp and all of these things. And I was like, well, can you cut that back? Can you do this and that? And he looked at me and he goes, I don't think you can. He goes, I don't think that's a good idea. And I was like, huh. Wow. I was like, because he was like, well, he goes, it's kind of important, right? He goes, I don't really want to take care of you. And I was like, thanks, Joe. But it really kind of changed my opinion a little bit, I guess, because in my mind, I was like, oh, I could be putting this money towards this or that, or I need to do this or that, or this is, and Joey was like, no, he's like, you just need to figure that into your budget because this is important. And I was like, damn, my kid's smarter than me.
I love that. Let's leave that as the lingering thought for today. Thanks for joining us, guys. A little wacky episode here.
What? Anarchy.
A wacky episode jumping from topic to topic, but sometimes that's the way our brains work. We're fitness nerds, health nuts. We love what we do.
Speak for yourself. I don't fit that.
And we will, Tripp, we have a guest coming up.
Next one off the top of my head is Dr. Amy Person, the 21st, I believe, of November.
I'm excited about that one.
That's going to be a good one. I'm stoked on that one. She works in women's health. She's working with the women's
Hence the reason I will be here, because you guys don't know how to be women. Just
trying my best.
You guys have yourself an amazing rest of your day. All right. Oh, and get some sunshine. Take care. See you on the next episode of Health or High Water.
Don't worry about the next episode.